Tonight on Speedweek, a big weekend of drag racing marks the return of Garlits. Underdog Labonte hopes he can wear the Haynes 500 crown. And the rookies invade Indy hoping to be among the 33.
Hi everyone, I'm Bob Jenkins. Welcome to our premiere Speedweek show. It's time for another full night of racing here on ESPN. We'll show you highlights and we'll talk with the principals of a new IndyCar team that was formed this week. Well, that was a brief look at Speedweek through the years, from our humble beginnings back in the spring of 1984 to our brand new look here in 1992. And although we have this new appearance, we haven't changed our philosophy, which is bringing you the motorsports coverage you deserve. Hi everyone, I'm Bob Jenkins and welcome to our new home. Kind of nice, huh? Well, after a quiet Easter weekend, several major U.S. racing series get back in action this weekend, including the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. It's at Martinsville, Virginia tomorrow for the Haynes 500, and our Benny Parsons is there with the latest. Benny?
Thanks, Bob. After taking Easter weekend off, the NASCAR Winston Cup teams are getting ready for the final short track race of the first half of the season. Like everything else in 1992, Fords have dominated on the short tracks, with Bill Elliott, Alan Kawicki, and Davey Allison capturing the first three short track races. Harry Gant has had several strong runs this season in his Skull Oldsmobile, but the most consistent GM driver with 7 top 10s in 7 races is Terry Labonte. Dr. Jerry Punch has more.
That's right, Benny. 1984 Winston Cup champion Terry Labonte is back with his strongest start since 1985. Fourth in points, only 116 behind Davey Allison. He has already equaled his total in top 5s and top 10s that he achieved during the entire 1991 season.
I think we've just got a better team this year than we did last year. Our cars are better. We've made some changes there at the shop with personnel, moved some people around and stuff. And that's been a big difference for us.
The Sunoco team used a Chevrolet at Daytona and an Oldsmobile in the other NASCAR Winston Cup events. And rumor has it, next week they'll debut their 3rd different make of car at Talladega.
We tested it down there last week, and we were real pleased with it. It's the first one we've ever built, the first Ford engine our guys have ever built, and I thought it ran awful good the first time out.
Well, Terry Labonte and Billy Hagan won the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship back in 1984 by being consistent. And it looks like, thus far here in 92, they've got that same old formula working for him again. Benny?
Thanks, Jerry. Talk about consistency. Ford has been on the pole for the past 4 Martinsville races coming into the Haynes 500. But in qualifying on Friday, their string was broken, with a GM car on the pole for only the 2nd time in 1992. Qualifying on the pole for the first time in 98 races was 11-time Martinsville winner Darrell Waltrip at 92.956 miles per hour.
I missed being in the Clash for the last couple of years, and I got a great bunch of guys. They really are working hard, and our team is right on the verge of taking off and doing a lot of great things, winning poles and races.
This is the first pole this year for Chevrolet. Is the Ford streak just about to end?
I promise you, before this year's over with, they'll be doing all the whining.
And here's a look at the rest of the top qualifiers for the Haynes 500. And Bob, another bit of news. It's learned that Mark Rippon, quarterback of the Washington Redskins, is going to take up where his coaches left off. He's going to form a Winston Cup team with college classmate Chad Little as a driver. Now, they're going to start in 1993. Bob, we've always had some great races here at Martinsville, which is celebrating its 45th season this weekend. And I know this year's Haynes 500 should be a good one. I'll see you here tomorrow.
Thanks, Benny. Good to see other members of the NFL becoming interested in NASCAR racing. Now, because of ESPN's coverage of the NFL draft tomorrow, the Haynes 500 will be tape delayed until Monday night at 7:30 Eastern. The first quarter driver of the year results are in, and the winner is Bill Elliott. On the strength of his 4 victories in the first 5 NASCAR Winston Cup races, Elliott was selected for that honor by a panel of auto racing writers and broadcasters. And speaking of being honored, Richard Petty can now be called Doctor in addition to King. This past Wednesday, the spring academic convocation was held at Pfeiffer College in Meisenheimer, North Carolina. An honorary degree of Doctor of Humanities was given to Richard for his achievements in volunteer efforts to promote civic and charitable causes, and for his accomplishments during his driving career, which prevented him from originally getting a college degree.
We went through high school and I went to business college, but as far as ever thinking of going to, 4-year college and stuff like that, I just done it all driving a race car. That's my college.
And in some cases, it's been the school of hard knocks. So you can now call him Doctor or King, but wife Linda says she'll probably just keep calling him Richard.
Speed Week is brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil.
Coming up, Jaguar goes for 2 in a row at the Nissan Grand Prix. And later, that last lap incident that denied Kinzer a hometown win.
Hi. You know why Quaker State asked me to be their spokesman? Because I'm tough. Quaker State is tough. Tough on wear and tough on sludge. If you use Quaker State in your new car's engine, they'll guarantee it for 250,000 miles or 10 years in writing. Quaker State is one tough motor oil. So naturally, they asked me because I'm tough. You don't think it's because they think I'm oily?
Introducing Ford's newest car. It doesn't have a sticker price. There's no choice of colors. And it has to be driven 4 times the speed limit to be appreciated. The new Ford IndyCar. If you think our technology looks impressive here, just wait till you experience it down the road. Have you driven a Ford lately?
Ground transportation arranged through General Rent-A-Car, where we're going all out to offer you big savings, including U.S. savings bonds with rentals of quality Chrysler cars.
The IMSA Camel GT Series is at Road Atlanta this weekend, and Marty Reed says although it's called the Nissan Grand Prix, the focus of attention will be on Jaguar and Davy Jones.
Jaguar has earned all of its attention this weekend for 2 reasons. Davy Jones won here last year and returns to defend his crown driving the awesome XJR14.
I think Road Atlanta track really suits me as a driver, my style. I like the character of the track, and I enjoy everything that Road Atlanta has to offer. The car last year was just superb around here, and I think this new car is even that much better.
The Group C modified Jag has already forced Chevrolet to scrap plans for a new Corvette chassis and return to the drawing board. The decision leaves Chevy fans and Tommy Kendall little hope of winning until June when IMSA returns to the street circuit in New Orleans. Meanwhile, Nissan will be shooting for its 100th victory, and Jeff Brabham will be looking to cut into Davy Jones's point lead in the Drivers' Championship.
The Jaguar team did a good job of finishing Daytona and Sebring, and whereas we had a bit of a disaster at Daytona, we came back strong the last 2 races. But he's a little bit ahead in points, and he certainly has the car right now to do some damage as far as the points are concerned. But just having the fastest car in the race doesn't necessarily mean you're always going to win.
Spirits could not be higher in Dan Gurney's Toyota camp. However, coming off the team's victory at Sebring, Gurney admits he too may be looking at the wrong end of the cat.
Well, you've heard the story of the tortoise and the hare, and of course the tortoise won, so I guess we're trying to be a tortoise. We'd rather be a hare.
One team not worried about the Jaguar is Mazda. This team may finally get to start a race after apparently solving severe heating problems in the exhaust system of the brand new RX 792P.
It's really held us back. Now we get to actually develop the car. Although I think this weekend will show both cars running in the race. I think if we just finish the race, considering the car probably has never run more than 20 minutes at a whack ever, it will be a great relief to everybody.
Round 4 on the IMSA schedule starts Sunday at 1:30 Eastern at Road Atlanta. For Speedweek, this is Marty Reed reporting.
There's no TV coverage of this event. We'll have the highlights next week. Also this weekend, the 6th meeting of the year for the NHRA Drag Racers' 5th points-paying event, the Fram Southern Nationals at Commerce, Georgia. The 300-mile-an-hour barrier is still being talked about, along with other stories. And Dave McClellan, I guess one of those stories deals with Big Daddy.
That's right, Bob. History is being made this weekend here at Atlanta Dragway as Big Daddy Don Garlits returns to competition after a 5-year layoff. At the age of 60, Big debuted his new car about a month ago at Indianapolis Raceway Park. And definitely its most distinctive feature is this huge monomount wing, a single wing strut holding the aerodynamic device that provides the downforce on the rear tires. Another interesting note, look how narrow the rear end is. The two tires sucked in to get them out of the wind, providing less resistance to the air. The engine configuration very similar to those being used in the top fuel cars of today. And of course, the trademark of Big Daddy Don Garlits and his Swamp Rat machines, that's the canopy over the cockpit, protecting the driver from the wind that what he hopes will be 300 miles an hour. Don's first full pass under power came in qualifying here at Atlanta, and it may not have produced the times that he had hoped for. But Don, you've got great expectations for this rather unique race car.
I sure do. I was talking to some of the officials, and they said it went down the lane as straight as any of the cars. In fact, some of the cars were having a little trouble. It's kind of windy out there. This thing went like an arrow.
Of course, the 300-mile-an-hour barrier has been broken. Kenny Bernstein did it. We asked him if those kind of speeds will become commonplace.
I don't know about commonplace every time you go down the quarter mile. That's a tough deal. The conditions have to be so good, both atmosphere and racetrack. But you'll see some more happen this year, and probably some more out of other cars by all means.
One incredible weekend of racing competition here at the Fram Southern Nationals in Atlanta. We'll have the highlights for you 1 week from tonight on Speed Week. Back to you, Bob.
All right, Dave. The winningest drag racer of all time, Bob Glidden, remembers last year's Southern Nationals. It was then he won his most recent pro stock title, the 80th of his career. Here's what's on TV this week in our Air Force Reserve Airtimes. Stay tuned to ESPN following Speed Week. Tonight at 8 o'clock, we'll have the Haynes 150 NASCAR Modified Race from Martinsville, Virginia, held earlier today. Also tonight, Saturday Night Thunder at 9:30 Eastern Time, live from Ventura, California, featuring the USAC Western States Midgets. The Haynes 500 NASCAR Winston Cup race from Martinsville can be seen Monday night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Highlights of that race can be seen on ESPN's Checkered Flag Tuesday morning at 12:30 a.m. Eastern. And finally, Speed Week will air a half hour later than usual next Saturday night at 8 o'clock Eastern.
It's tough to concentrate on school when you're worried about paying for it. If the cost of college tuition is on your mind, do what you've always wanted to do and cash in on the Reserve GI Bill in the Air Force Reserve.
If you don't like the looks of your car, shoot it with Son of a Gun from STP. Shoot the dash, seats, tires, and roof. Son of a Gun protecting. Man, what a difference.
I drive a race car for a living. I depend on the parts and pieces in my car. And I feel so confident knowing that Pennzoil is protecting the moving parts inside of my engine. Pennzoil's quality and protection give me the confidence I need to do my job without second thought. I've never had a problem with viscosity breakdown using Pennzoil. Their motor oil is the best against viscosity breakdown. That's why I have the confidence to use it on the street and in my race car. Pennzoil, performance, protection, quality.
Down through the years, 28 different drivers have taken the checkered flag at a NASCAR Winston Cup race at Martinsville Speedway. Not surprising, Richard Petty has the most victories, 15. But believe it or not, another stock car legend never won on Clay Earl's half-mile facility. Here's Dr. Jerry Punch with this week's Petty Memory.
This Richard Petty memory is brought to you by the First Brand Corporation, makers of STP, Son of a Gun Protectant. Through the years, Richard Petty and Bobby Allison have produced many thrills for the crowds at Martinsville Speedway. While Richard won 15 times, Allison never achieved a victory during his career, usually finishing behind the king. Although at times, the Hueytown native came very close.